Today we're going to be making this headband that can also double as an ear warmer. This is a super fun and easy project to make because the sizing is very easy to adjust. I'm going to be making mine today in an adult size, but I'm also going to be explaining how to easily make different sizes. To make this headband, I use this gray yarn from the kit, as well as this variegated blue. And from the toolkit, I use the snippers, the 4.5mm crochet hook, the measuring tape is going to come in super handy, as well as an embroidery needle. So these are all the items that you're going to use from your kit to make this adorable headband. So the foundation chain for this project is super important. It's not about how many chains you make, but that the amount of chains you make can easily go around your head. So I'm going to go ahead and make a chain, just like that. So I can show you guys again how to make that. You cross your yarn, and on this side, you're gonna pull this yarn under, turn it, and just pull your hook up so you have a chain. So on average, the chain that I make is usually about 20 inches long if I'm making this for an adult. So I'm just gonna go ahead and chain however many it takes to get to that measurement. So you're just gonna keep chaining like this. And if you're making it for an adult, you're gonna go around 20 inches long. To check if my chain is long enough, I'm going to bring this measuring tape from the kit, and I'm going to fold my chain in half. Since I want it to be a total of 20, as long as it's folded in half and it gets to 10, then this is about 20 inches long. And I did approximately 80 chains, but I am using, again, a 4.5mm hook, and my tension can be different than yours. So again, it doesn't matter how many chains you make. It just matters that the length goes around your head. So you can stop here and put this chain around your head and see if it's comfortable around there, because that's the most important part. The number of chains is not as important. So now we're gonna start to build up the ear warmer. So the first thing, this is our first chain, this is our second, right here is our third. We're actually gonna work into the third. So we're gonna skip the first two. We're skipping, of course, the one on our hook, and then we're skipping the second. We're gonna work into the third. So I'm gonna do a double crochet. Double crochet is when you put the yarn around the hook. Now you're gonna push the hook through that third chain. Grab yarn, pull it through. Now you put yarn over your hook, pull it through the first two loops only. Pull yarn again, you're gonna yarn over and then pull this yarn through the next two loops. That is a double crochet. The only time we're ever gonna skip chains like we did at the beginning, those 2 stitches, is whenever we get to the end of the row. So I'll show you guys again. From here forth all the way across this chain, you're just gonna make double crochets without skipping anything. So you just pull like that. You're gonna pull this yarn through the first 2, yarn over, and then through 2 again. So you pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull the first 2, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. So yarn over, go through the stitch, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. So I'll do that one more time. Yarn over, push the hook through, grab the yarn and pull through. You're gonna pull yarn over and pull through the next 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. Okay, so you just double crochet all across. Okay, so I have one double crochet left. Now what we're going to do, because we're at the end of the row, is chain 2. So 1, 2, and turn your work. It is easier if you kind of move your work to the other side. Now we're going to be crocheting all along the rows that we just did, and we're still double crocheting all across. So you're skipping the 2 chains that you just made. We're skipping this chain and this chain, which is the 2 that we just made, and we're working back into those double crochets. So pull the yarn through the first 2 loops, pull the yarn through again, and just continue double crocheting. And again, you're working just right on top of those double crochets. And you're going to work that all the way across until you get to that very last chain. Then I'll show you what to do again. So I have 2 double crochets left to do. So I'm going to do 1. And then this is the very last one for the row. So because I'm going to use a secondary color, I'm going to do the first, where I'm pulling the loop through the first 2, and then usually I would take this and pull it through the next 2, but I'm going to stop right here because we're going to color change. So I'm bringing this yarn. I just think this one works perfectly with the colors. So we're going to get that tail, and you kind of want to leave a longish tail because you're going to use that to weave it in later. So I have the 2 gray loops. I'm kind of just going to hold the variegated yarn, so this blue piece, I'm just holding it with my finger and I'm going to pull it through. And since we are at the end of the row, I'm going to do those chain 2 and turn my work. And you're going to just continue double crocheting across like normal, and remember these chain 2 that we just did, you're going to skip that. Just double crochet like normal. Okay, and keep double crocheting across. I will catch up with you when you get to the end, and I'll show you guys what to do next. I am at my last few stitches, so I'm just going to do these last 3 double crochets. And this is the last one. And just like before, when we get to that last one, we're going to chain 2, turn your work, skip those first 2 chains that you made, and double crochet. So you are actually officially halfway through making the band. So I'm going to do one more row, which is the one that I'm working on, in the variegated yarn. And then I'm going to go back to the solid gray yarn and make 2 more rows. So continue double crocheting across. When you get to the very end, I'll tell you what to do. so I have 2 more double crochets in the variegated. So I'm going to do this one, and then to do the last one, we're going to color change. So I'm not going to fully complete the double crochet. I'm pulling the yarn through. Now I'm going to pull the yarn through the first 2 loops and leave it like this. And I have the gray yarn right here, so I'm going to grab that and pull it through. So now the yarn that I'm working with is gray. This right here, this tail of the gray, it's okay if you cut it or if you left it just like I did, because we're going to cover this up. When we finish the headband, we're going to sew this together, and we're actually going to put a little cover on it just like I showed earlier. So it's going to be okay if you leave it like this or if you cut it. But I'm going to go ahead and continue. So I'm going to do the chain 2, turn your work, and continue double crocheting. So I'm going to double crochet twice, so once in the first stitch and then once in the second stitch, and I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to cut the variegated yarn because we're done with that. And I do want to leave a good tail, not too long, but I'm going to leave a good sized tail. Okay, so I'm going to put this to the side. We will be needing this again in just a bit, so I'm just going to put it to the side. Don't worry about the tails that are left right now. These, we can knot them after we finish, because like I said, we're going to cover that up. So we'll get to it in just a bit. For right now, continue doing the double crochets all across until you get to the end. Okay, I have 3 stitches left. So I'm going to double crochet in each of them. So now I'm at the very last stitch, so I'm just going to put a double crochet. And just like all the other rows before, we're going to chain 2, turn our work, and double crochet, skipping those first 2 chains that we created. Double crochet right onto the double crochets. So again, skipping those chains. And this is the very last row. So after we finish, when you get to the very end, I'm going to show you how to finish off and then what the next step is going to be. I have 3 double crochets left. So of course 1 in each stitch. So on the last double crochet, I'm going to do it like normal. And what I'm going to do is just pull the yarn a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the scissors. So I'm going to grab the snipper so I can cut the yarn. And you do want to leave a fairly long tail for this because we're going to use that tail to sew these pieces together. It's always best to have extra when you cut your tail than to be needing some. So we're done with the gray yarn. You can go ahead and put that to the side. You won't be needing it anymore. I'm going to go ahead and grab an embroidery needle. And what we're going to do next is actually sew this together using that long tail. So thread the yarn through the needle. And you're going to line up as best you can the 2 pieces. So this does not have to be perfect at all. You can sew it however you can. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to put a piece on top that's going to hide this. So if your sewing isn't that good, that's totally okay. It doesn't have to look neat at all. Just do the best you can and just sew it the best that you can. As long as it's fairly sturdy, it should be good. And I'm just sewing back and forth. There's no right or wrong way, and you don't have to worry about sewing over the blue because again, this is going to be covered. Now that I have the main piece sewn together, I'm not going to cut this yarn just yet. I'm actually going to turn this inside out and work with these 3 little pieces that we have. You could have more if you did cut the yarn. That's totally okay. All that I'm going to do is weave them in. You could actually knot these if you would like, or you can do both. You can weave them in and knot them, which is what I think I'm going to do. I kind of weave them in, I hid them around there, and I'm going to make a knot. And then I'm going to snip at the tails of that knot. So I still have that right there. Now I'm gonna weave in the tail of the gray. So this is from when we first started crocheting, when we made that initial chain. So now I'm going back to that initial long chain, the one that we used to sew this together. And I'm going to flip it the correct way. There actually is no right or wrong way for this. So what we're going to do is cinch this together. So I kind of grab this piece right here, fold it, and then I grab the top and kind of fold it in. So it's just almost like a little bow. And what you're gonna do is get this tail and use that to tighten it around. Make sure it's pretty tight. And then on the back, on that inside, I am going to go ahead and tie this, and this is gonna leave a knot that is gonna be pretty visible, just because I wanna make sure it's secure. Okay, and then you can still see I have that other knot. Both of these are going to be hidden with the next step that we're gonna do. So what we're gonna do is make a little piece to cover that up, and it's gonna make this extra cute. So I'm gonna put this to the side, grab that variegated yarn. So whatever color again that you used for the middle, I'm gonna use that to make the little piece so it'll stand out. And this piece is very fast, very easy, and you can make it really in any color, but I do like it to match. So we're gonna make a chain again, cross your yarn, pull it through, twist, kind of let it go and pull up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and chain 7. So I'm gonna chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The first 2 chains, or I should say the last 2 chains that we just made, we're gonna skip those and work double crochets onto the last 5. So we're gonna skip those first 2 chains and double crochet onto the last 5. So 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Since we're at the end, we're gonna go ahead and chain 2 again, turn our work, and double crochet 5 across. So we're at the end again, chain 2, turn your work, skip those chain 2, and double crochet 5 across. Okay, so I've done it 3 times already. I'm gonna chain 2, turn my work, and double crochet 5 across. Then I'm gonna hold it against the headband and see if it's long enough to go around. It should be, but I'm just gonna double check. Okay, before cutting the yarn, I'm just gonna pull it up, grab the headband, and I'm gonna hold this around. So it's gonna look like this. Looks really pretty. Okay, that is long enough. So I'm going to leave a long tail. Pull that through. And now we're gonna sew this on here. So for this part, I am going to flip the headband inside out. So that way we can make sure that we're gonna sew the seam onto the back. So this will be hidden on the inside of the headband. So again, if you're not that good at sewing, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly neat. This is gonna be hidden on the inside. So we're gonna also cover up those knots. Then I'm going to make a little knot in here and I'm gonna hide it. By pulling it through. I'm going to do the same for this little piece. I'm just going to knot it. And pull it through. So we're going to hide the knot. And it's nice and secure. And then trim it. Perfect. Okay, the final step, you turn it to the right side out. And there you have a super cute, really versatile, you can use this as a headband or an ear warmer when the temperature gets cold. And of course, you can fix the size, you can make it in different sizes by just working with our original chain and putting it around your head before you begin all the double crochets. So you can make this in really any size that you would like to. Again, also in any colors of yarn.